Hello, I am Professor Kino and welcome to my Office of Cinematic Antiquity. Today I will be premiering my series Second Look Celluloid, where I'll be giving a second look to films that were either overlooked or harshly judged at their time of release. Today's film is... This movie came out back in May of this year, and I have to admit that I was intrigued when I first heard about it. How can a stylized film starring Margot Robbie, Simon Pegg, and Mike Myers not be something to behold? I was even more intrigued when I read the plot synopsis and realized that the film sounded nuts, but in a great way. In the dark heart of a sprawling and anonymous city, two assassins carry out a sinister mission and a teacher battles a fatal illness, while an enigmatic janitor and a curious waitress lead a dangerous double life. Murderous consequences unravel in the dead of night as their lives all intertwine at the hands of a mysterious criminal mastermind who is hell-bent on revenge. But then, May 11th, 2018 rolled around, and the critical reception and audience reception was less than promising. In addition to this, not many people saw the film. Consequently, it fell off my radar a bit. Until about a week ago, when I saw it sitting on a shelf in Walmart and I began to be intrigued again. What was it about this film that made it so derided by critics and audience members alike? So I decided to delve into some reviews and read up on what people had to say about it. The first snippet I read by one Peter Travers was a very negative review that gave the film 0 stars, but also described it akin to something Quentin Tarantino upchucked after watching Blade Runner while reading Alice in Wonderland and ingesting too many hallucinogens. While I can see that Travers was trying to dissuade people from seeing Terminal, I think his description worked against him. I mean, Tarantino mixed with Blade Runner and Alice in Wonderland on drugs? That made the film more appealing to me. And then, after a few more reviews that I read, I noticed that Richard Roper, whom I normally agree with, gave the film a positive review and concluded it by saying Terminal is audacious, never dull, and destined to be on both Best of the Year and Worst of the Year lists. So, long story short, I purchased Terminal, popped it into my player, and gave it a watch. Premise. The paths of two hitmen, a dying English teacher, a train station janitor, and a mysterious waitress all intertwine in unexpected and oftentimes violent ways. Writing. When a film features a lot of different stories, it is important for it to have the writing to sustain it and keep it from spiraling into nonsense. And Terminal is a bit of a mixed bag on this. After having seen the film twice and having thought about it a lot, the plot points all make sense to me now, but they are definitely hard to digest upon first viewing. At its bare bones, this film is a noir from the perspective of the femme fatale. However, while the writing shifts the femme fatale to the center stage, it still uses the standard femme fatale tropes, i.e. the audience does not really know what her endgame is. This, while very unique, ends up making the audience feel left out. The audience does not really know much about its main character or her relation to any of the other characters, and it is not until the last 10 minutes or so that everything suddenly reveals itself. The femme fatale holds all the cards, and the audience is left in the dark and is given almost nothing to help them figure out where the film is going. Additionally, the actual plot twists are very sudden and very strange, and because there's no real build-up to them in the way of hints, some viewers might think that they are dumb. And this all stems from what the film is trying to be, a noir mystery from the perspective of the femme fatale, and the problems that arise from that. However, I should mention that watching the film a second time really lets the writing come to life. It suddenly begins to make a lot more sense, and the subtle intricacies of it do start to be realized. It is just that upon first viewing, unlike many famous mystery stories, there is almost no way to figure out what direction the film may take, and to some that will be frustrating. Acting. The acting in this film is what really keeps it standing, because while the plot may be confusing and convoluted at first, the acting is really engaging and helps to elevate the writing and intrigue the audience. Margot Robbie is brilliant as Annie, the mysterious waitress at the end-of-the-line diner. She conveys the classic femme fatale perfectly. She is mysterious, she is creepy, she is sexy, she is charming, and most importantly, you don't really know what she's planning at any one time. She is just a pleasure to watch.
Look, I'm just the middleman. Think of me as a half-naked waitress delivering goods from one anonymous party to another anonymous party for a fee. Or slightly less anonymous in your case, Vincent.
Simon Pegg is equally great as Bill, the English teacher with an unknown terminal disease. It's hard to say much about him without giving away some of the twists and turns of the plot, but he is stupendous.
Saying I take a contract out on myself?
Exactly.
Do they have an assassin section in the classifieds? Wanted, tall, dark, anonymous stranger, must have own rifle.
My new boyfriend's a contract killer.
Mike Myers as the creepy janitor is a little over the top, but it kind of fits with the weirdness of the rest of the film, so I can overlook it. His acting is just a little jarring when compared to everyone else's, and it is definitely not as strong as Robbie's or Peg's.
End of the line cafe, situated on the station concourse, open 24 hours a day. Why not purchase one of our delicious sticky buns, only 30 pence?
You're peculiar.
Dexter Fletcher, as one of the two hitmen, Vincent, is also not half bad. He is not as good as Robbie or Peg, but he is gruff, entertaining, and, admittedly, quite funny at times. Max Irons, as the other hitman Alfred, delivers a performance that is about equal with Fletcher's. Alfred is younger and more naive, so he provides a nice foil to Fletcher's Vincent. In the end, Irons is entertaining, but overshadowed by Robbie and Peg.
You don't fucking ease your gun into the room without being able to see anything, waiting to be shot. Stupid.
It's a film, Alf. It's make-believe. It's factually inaccurate. They actually make it up. It's not so they got some hitman consultant talking them through the finer points of assassinating other fictitious people.
Yes, but why not? It would be factually accurate if they did.
Oh, you know, I just realised something. You're a fucking moron.
Costumes, hair, and makeup. While none of the characters look like people you would see walking down the street in real life, they fit well with the neo-noir stylized aesthetic of the film. Robbie has on a lot of makeup and is usually in very striking clothing, such as a classic diner waitress costume, an eye-popping red coat, or some sexy lingerie. Fletcher and Irons wear nice clothes and trench coats, classic neo-noir hitman garb, and Peg has on a tweed jacket and a tie that makes him look like a stereotypical professor. Everyone takes on the appearance of their typical neo-noir character stereotype, except Mike Myers, who wears a very striking janitor costume and is sporting some grotesque fake teeth and a lot of other gross makeup. Just like his acting, it is a little jarring when compared to everyone else, but it does kind of have a purpose in the film. In the end, the costumes and makeup are well done, but nothing earth-shattering. Set design. Think neo-noir Vegas, and you can pretty much picture what the sets look like here. Big neon signs, foggy alleys, dank diners, strip clubs, the whole 9 yards. While it does not break the wheel when it comes to neo-noir sets, it nails what it's going for perfectly. The only weird part of it is that it all does seem artificial, and that is mostly since there are very few pedestrians in the film. Most every scene features only the main characters, and this can make the film feel a little empty at times. But this is just a minor nitpick to the film's otherwise stylish sets. Choreography. There isn't much here in the realm of action besides a gunshot once in a while, and there was little in the way of dancing besides one sequence with strippers that are not really on screen for all that long. So when it does come to choreography, there is a minimal amount of it, but when it does happen, it is handled well. Cinematography. I found the cinematography of this film to be, for the most part, well done. A lot of the ways the camera is used in combination with the lighting results in some beautiful and mesmerizing shots that made me pause and rewind the film just to look at them for extended periods of time. If there are any issues, it would be that the film uses a copious amount of Dutch angles, so much so in fact that it became a little distracting after a while. However, as a whole, I found the film's cinematography very unique and stylish. I liked it a lot. Editing. All the scenes are spliced together in a comprehensible manner that makes the film flow. Even when the film jumps into a quick montage, it is not confusing and fits well with the style of the film. Nothing stupendous, but definitely competent. CGI. There is a little CGI, but mostly only when showing long shots of the city or establishing shots of various sets. While it is obvious when it is CGI, I found that it actually fit with and enhanced the film's aesthetic. Music. Through most of the movie, I didn't really notice the music, to be honest. However, when I did notice it, it was mostly like neo-noir light. Think Blade Runner, but make it lighter on the techno and a little less overpowering. However, the main theme of the film, a whistling rendition of Oh Danny Boy, is mysterious, haunting, and being the first thing that you hear when watching the film, pulls you right into it. Direction. The director of this film, Von Stein, brings all the previous pieces together to create a visually unique neo-noir mystery revenge thriller. While most everything meshes well together, from the acting to the set designs to the costumes to the makeup, Stein does get a little carried away with his desire to make the film unique and surprising. Consequently, the writing sometimes goes off the rails and winds up in more convoluted, pretentious, and wild for the sake of wild territory. Nevertheless, Stein definitely had a vision for his film, and I think that he was able to create what he wanted to. The only issue with this is that it makes the film more self-indulgent in the end, a factor that will definitely turn some people off to it. My enjoyment. So I went into this film not knowing what to expect, and I came out the other side liking it quite a lot. It is nowhere close to perfect, but it is stylish, unique, and filled to the brim with great performances. However, I feel like it loses a bit of itself in the convolution of its plot, and it does, at times, feel like Von Stein was aiming for something along the lines of, "Oh, they'll never see that coming," instead of aiming for complete sense and cohesion. And this, in the end, leads the film to feel a little pretentious. However, this did not ruin my viewing experience, and I left having had a great time. Recommendations. When I looked up this film on my phone, I was provided with a series of key words that other viewers had used to describe it. Dark, plot twist, confusing, strong acting, edgy, complex characters, intense, violent, fun. I think these words sum up this movie accurately. So if these key words make you interested in the film, check it out. Also, if you are, like I was, intrigued with the idea of a drug-addled Tarantino directing a Blade Runner-esque film with elements of Alice in Wonderland, check this film out as well. Otherwise, steer clear. This film is definitely not everyone's cup of tea, and I can't help but agree with Richard Roeper when he declared that this film is destined to be on both Best of the Year and Worst of the Year lists.
So it's a clue. Trail of breadcrumbs.
Yes, apparently, someone has a penchant for the amateur dramatics.
It's pronounced penchant.
It's pronounced, shut your fucking mouth, is how it's pronounced.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I'm Professor Kino, and I look forward to our next discussion.